This sign's really pointed, it's right by the shaft. G'day, it's Jason here from In Search of Australia. In this episode I'll be specking and sieving for gemstones like Topaz and Emerald in the Torrington State Conservation Area. Let's see how it goes. Full disclosure here, this is the very first time I've ever gone for topaz or emeralds. I'm going to apply the normal techniques for sapphires and other gemstones. At least I'm categorizing through the sieve to see it, but I'm not sure whether it's supposed to be really heavy, whether it sits in another level of some sort. I do know what it looks like and I can distinguish it, but it'll be a bit of a learning as I go process. So those who aren't familiar with specking, what it means is you're finding visually anything on the surface. So you can do specking for sapphires in a lot of sapphire areas and things. In this case, I'm going to be looking for topaz. It's a bit of a juggle because it could be glass, particularly in the campground area, but it's got a definite look, and there's usually facets, so the angles that you'd expect with a crystal. So it's usually easy to distinguish. So I'm going to have a look around the campground just here in case there's something to get. It's another one. I think it is anyway. Focus is hard on this. Not as convinced on this one, but it does look like it. There's one. This is in the car park. Before I even reach the river. Little piece of topaz. You can mistake it for glass, but glass shatters usually with like circular patterns if you want. This has definitely got facets and things like that, so it potentially could be quartz, but I don't think so. The quartz around here is a lot more smoky if you want, and cloudy. I haven't seen any clear quartz crystals, so not a bad start. Don't be me and wear your sunscreen. This is from the other day. Nice sleeve cut off mark just about there. Got sunscreen on now though. So on the left there's some logs which shows that there has been, I guess, a semi-flood here. Not that high, it doesn't go back up to the campground area, but what's happened is it's caught there, and there's this hill that then drops off here, and all the heavier rocks on this side. So it's a really nice dry representation of how to look for things like gemstones and gold. So looking along the river, there's obviously lots of digging going on. Not sure what was going on over there. It's like sandcastles. Maybe they're trying to get a flow for a sluice, who knows. One of the problems now is I don't know if those rocks have naturally fallen there or they've been dug up, because this is on the other end of the bend and it's where I'd assume they should be. Nice little stretch of crystal there, quartz. Almost perfect point there. So they're not behaving like sapphires and things. It's sort of, I'm not sure of their gravity, but they're hanging on the outside. I think I've got a really nice little smoky quartz point then. I'll just put it in here. And yeah, it looks like you're getting glass, but there wouldn't be that much glass here. Now I'm collecting all of it just so you can see at the end what's here as such. There's nothing that's been remarkable. The specking one's the biggest one I've found so far. But yeah, there's a lack of ironstone and spinel to suggest gold. That's not to say it's not here, just hard to find. Yes, I'm not wearing the waders. There's only so long I can wear rubber. I'm not one of those people. But besides that fact, I've found that this is getting me the most topaz at the moment. So I guess the heavies is important, but when I look in the actual sifted or sieved material, it doesn't really always sit around the center. So it's not obviously that heavy that it will shrink to the middle of the sieve. It's still getting categorized, so I am still finding it, but I think there's a secret to it that I'm unaware of. But I'll keep going at this spot and see if they get bigger. So what I'm discovering, it's easy to determine your topaz from quartz. The quartz here just has this slight yellow tinge. It's not ever completely clear, and the topaz breaks totally differently too. When you look at the quartz and the topaz together, you'll see what I mean. I dug just before this tree here because, well, little bush I should call it, not a tree. I dug just before this little bush because I saw all these large gravel gathered here. It's sort of at the end of this big bank, and where the bank rises up a bit too high for everything to gather. It ended up being where I got the most topaz in one sieve. So I'm thinking it works on a low pressure concept, similar to sapphires and other heavies, but doesn't quite work its way down to the clay layer. Because whenever I get to the clay layer, I get less topaz. My glowing white legs, winter legs. Great thing about here is it's really easy to sift through. I think it's just it's dry country and not a lot of clay. Lots of different sounding frogs too. I keep thinking they're people sometimes. Not that one. these ones were in the center. So you can see the really glass-like pieces. There's the topaz. And you'll notice that it does break really unusually compared to quartz. So there's quartz all around here. So it's really easy to pick. I think if you found it for the first time, you might think it was broken glass from the way it looks. Now I remember why I don't like wearing sunscreen. You sweat a bit and it goes in your eyes. That wasn't the purpose of this shot though. I'm getting tons and tons of tiny topaz, and I think it's actually going to slow things down if I keep going for that. So we can be pretty sure that if you dig in the right spot, you're going to get some every sieve. 3, 4, 5 pieces. I'm only going to use a top sieve now, and hopefully only get larger pieces. That might be a different story. Much better, much bigger piece. Much faster too. I wonder if these guys mind being miners for me. Spec their nest. This instantly caught my eye. It's pyrite caught in the quartz there. It's actually quite impressive, the size. So here's all the topaz so far. There is a quartz crystal in there, that dark one almost in the middle, and some sort of, I guess, dirtier topaz. The largest one though was specked. So here's some of the samples of topaz I got. You can see that there's this sort of milkier looking topaz that in the sun actually looks like aquamarine, so sort of like a blue topaz. Doesn't show up in this artificial light as much, but the reason I know it's topaz is when we look at the fact that there's facets, and then the way that it breaks. So topaz has this unusual way to break up. And this is this larger one. Whereas quartz, which I happen to have over here, particularly from Torrington, tends to be this sort of smoky quartz here. You do get some of this milky white stuff. I didn't see any clear quartz crystals, but quartz tends to break up with a different faceting look. So hopefully I'll get a little shine on the broken parts of it. And you can see that it doesn't look as, how would I say, rough. And to point out that it's not glass, I happened upon a piece of glass. And you can see glass does fracture in very definite shapes, makes it really obvious. This must have been maybe part of a watch face or something like that, I imagine. Maybe it got shattered as people were prospecting, but it definitely looks different to the topaz. So if you want topaz, this will have a lot of topaz for you in the Torrington area, and I recommend going for it. I didn't find any emeralds, but they do apparently exist there. So I will probably return in not necessarily the near future, but at some point to see if I can find the emeralds. Hope you enjoyed this.